Hello again and welcome back for part 2 of the Corylus throw. We're going to carry on working with a 5mm hook and the double knit yarn. The next row that we're going to do is row 11 and I'm going back to the turquoise colour yarn for this one. So as always, I'm going to start with a slip knot onto the hook and we're going to start in a corner. So it doesn't matter which corner you start in, but just find the corner space here and that's where we're going to work. So the corner stitches are going to be the same for all 4 corners and each of the sides will be exactly the same. So we're going to do 2 doubles. I'm starting with a standing double into that corner space and then chain 1 and 2 more doubles into that same space. So we're now going to work into every stitch all the way along this side. We're going to work back post doubles. So yarn over from the back to pick up the loop, yarn over through 2 and yarn over through 2, and then the same again all the way along. It's a nice and easy row, this one. So if you want to pause the video and work along this side, and I'll meet you when we get to the corner. So I've gone all the way along the first side with a back post double in each stitch. When we come to the corner, we just do like we did at the start of the row, working 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 more doubles into the corner space. So there's one side completed. We've done the corner for the next side. So all these 3 sides that are left now are going to be worked exactly the same. Back post double all the way along, 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 doubles into the corner space, and then back post all the way along again. So I'll let you pause the video at this point and I'll meet you when we get round to the very last stitch. So when we get round to the very last stitch, we're just going to join with a slip stitch, snip off the yarn and pull it through. So we're now ready for the next row. I'm going to work the next row in the white yarn, and again we're going to start in a corner space. I'm going to start away from the corner that we finished off so that the ends are not all in the same place. So into the corner space again we're going to work 2 doubles, a chain 1 and then another 2 doubles, and then we're ready to start the stitches along the side. So for this row we're going to work V-stitches. We're going to skip the first 2 stitches and they will be the 2 stitches that formed the corner of the last row. So we skip those 2 and we're going to work into the 3rd stitch, working a double, a chain 1 and another double into that same space, and that forms the first V. We're going to repeat this pattern repeat all the way along. So again we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and work a V into the next stitch, and then we skip 2 again, 1, 2, and work a V into that 3rd stitch, skip 2, work a V, Excuse me. Oops, not gone into the stitch there. 1, 2 and 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll have 11 V's, excuse me, along the side there. The last V is going to be into this stitch here, and then go straight into the corner and work the 2 doubles, oops, chain 1 and 2 doubles, and then all 4 sides are going to be exactly the same. So we just turn around and start the next row by skipping 2 stitches and working that first V stitch into the very next stitch there. So again, I'll let you pause the video and work all 4 sides. Just check that you've got 11 V stitches on each side, and then you've got the 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 doubles in each of your corner spaces. We've come all the way around all 4 sides. I'm just going to do this final V stitch, and then as before we're going to skip that last stitch and just join with a slip stitch into the first stitch of that corner and fasten off. So we're now ready to start row 13, and we're going to work into the V stitches on this one. So as always, we're going to start with the slip knot onto the hook, and for this row I'm using the orange yarn again. We're going to start in the corner, and we're going to do 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 more doubles into that same corner space. So we're now going to skip the next 2 stitches there. We're going to do a single crochet into this first V. So a single is just into the space, pick up a loop, yarn over and pull through. So there we've got the first single. We're going to skip the second half of this first V. We're going to work into the chain space of the next V. We're going to work a 5 double crochet shell. So we just do 5 doubles into that space. And then we skip the second half of this V. We're going to go into the next chain space of the next V and work a single, and then skip to the next V, the chain space, and work 5 doubles, and then straight into the next V with a single. So that's the pattern repeat along each side with the 5 double crochet shell and then a single into the next V, and then straight into the next V with the 5 double crochets. And then a single, 5 double crochets, and we're at the last V stitch of the side, and like the first V stitch we finish with a single in that very last one, and then we go straight over to the corner. So we're skipping the second stitch of the V, and we go straight into the corner and work the 2 doubles, chain 1 and 2 doubles. So that forms the side, and each side is going to be exactly the same. The corners are all the same with the 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and then each side starts into the first V. So we're going to skip the first 3 stitches, which is the 2 stitches from the corner and the first half of the V stitch. So at the end of this row you'll have 5 of the 5 double crochet shells. So I'll let you pause the video and work all the way around. So we'll start straight away on the second side, miss the first 2 stitches of the corner and the first stitch of the V. Into the V we're going to work a single, and then straight to the next V for the 5 double crochet shell. So that's the pattern repeat for this row, and I'll meet you when we get to the end. So come all the way around this last side here. I've worked the last single into that last V stitch. I'm just going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch, snip off the yarn and pull through. So the next row again starts with the corner, and I'm going back to the white yarn. So just slip knot that onto the hook. And the corners are a little bit different this time. We're not working the doubles as we've done before. I'm going to work a V stitch into the corner. So to do a standing double crochet for the first half of the V, if you want to do the 3 chain as the first stitch, you'll need to do 4 chains, which will count as a stitch and a chain. If you're doing the standing double crochet, it's the 1 double, a chain 1 and a double. So there's the first V, and then we're going to do a chain 1, and then we're going to do a second V into that same chain space. So double, chain 1 and a double. So there we've got the first corner, which is 2 V stitches with a chain 1 in between. We're now going to chain 3, and we're going to work a V stitch into the single. So we're going to skip these first 2 stitches here, which are the corner stitches from row 13. We're going to work a V stitch into this single. So it's double, chain 1 and a double. We're now going to chain 3, and skip the next 5 stitches, which is the whole of this shell. We're going to go straight into the single and work a V stitch into that single, and then chain 3. We're going to work a V stitch into the next single, so skip the 5 doubles that were in the shell. Chain 3, and again we skip the shell and work a V stitch into that next single. Chain 3, skip the shell, work a V stitch into the next single. Chain 3, and we've come to the last single of the side. We work a single into that single, a V-stitch into the single, and then we're going to skip those last 2 stitches. We're going to work the same corner as we did at the start, which is a V-stitch, a chain 1 and a second V-stitch into that same corner space. And then we're ready to start the next side, which is exactly the same as this first side. We start with 3 chain. Oops, I didn't do the 3 chain after the last V. I'll just do that now. We've got the last V into the single, 3 chains, and then into the corner space where we work a V-stitch, a chain and a second V-stitch. So we're ready to start the next side, and we start the next side with the 3 chain, and then skip the first 2 stitches and work a V-stitch into that first single. And then it's the same pattern repeat as before, where we're going to work 3 chain, skip the 5 doubles of the shell and work a V-stitch into the next single. And then it's the same all the way along the side. 3 chains, skip the shell, V-stitch into the next single. When you get to the last single of the side, you work a V-stitch, 3 chain, and then you work the 2 V's in the corner with the chain 1 in between the 2. So I'll let you pause the video again at this point, and I'll meet you when we get to the end of this round. When we reach the end of the round, we've worked the very last 3 chain. We're going to slip stitch into the first half of the first V in the corner, pull through and snip off the yarn. So I'm going back onto the orange yarn for the next row, and we're starting in the chain space that sits between the 2 V stitches. So slip knot onto the hook, and we're going to work 2 doubles. Again, you can work a 3 chain if you prefer to for that first stitch, but as usual I'm going to do a standing double. So we've got 2 doubles, chain 1 and 2 doubles, and each of the corners are going to be the same. Each of the sides are also going to be the same. We're going to work 5 doubles into the first shell of the into the first V of the first corner. So straight into that first V here, which is the corner V, we're going to do 5 doubles. We're now going to front post treble the 2 corner stitches from row 13. So this was row 14, the white row. Row 13 is this orange row here. And to do a front post treble, we're going to yarn over twice, and then we go behind the post of the stitch with the hook, pick up a loop, pull it through, and then we're going to yarn over through 2 once, yarn over through 2 twice, yarn over through 2 3 times, and that's the first treble, front post treble formed. We're going to do exactly the same on this second stitch of the corner here, this one. So yarn over twice, behind the post of the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through 2. We're now going to work 5 doubles into the next V, which is this one here, the very next V stitch. So 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, and 5. We're now going to work over the 3 chain, the white 3 chain here, and we're going to do a single into the 3rd double of this 5 double shell. So what we do, go through the top of the stitch, and we're going to catch that 3 chain at the same time and work a single. So the 3 chain from that previous row is inside the single there. And then we're now going to repeat the shell that we did here into this next V. So we've got 5 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to do exactly the same over this next 3 chain here, working a single into the middle double of these 5. So if you count along to 3, into that stitch and work around the chain with a single. And then we're just going to repeat this along to the last V here with the same pattern repeat. So we've got 5 doubles into the V, and then the single catching the 3 chain into that middle double of the previous row. So I'll work along this row so that you can see. Just got a knot in the yarn. That's it. So we've done the single, we now do the 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then a single into that middle double from the previous row, catching that 3 chain down, and then 5 doubles, and then the single into the middle double. 5 doubles into that V stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a single to catch down the 3 chain. We're now at the last V stitch on the side, so we're going to work 5 doubles into that V stitch, into the very last V stitch there, and then we're going to do exactly the same as we did at the beginning of the row with the front post trebles. So along the side we've got the 2 corner stitches, the 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 doubles, and then we've got the shell into that corner space, the 2 front post trebles, and then in between there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 5 double shells, and then we're going to do the front post trebles into these 2 stitches that formed the corner stitches of row 13. So yarn over twice, put the hook behind the post of the stitch and pick up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and then we do that again into that second stitch there, through 2, yarn through 2 and yarn through 2. That brings us back to the corner. We've got the 2 V stitches here. We're going to work 5 doubles into that first V. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and that completes the side for row 14. So we're just going to repeat that pattern repeat, starting with the corner again with the 2 doubles, chain 1 and 2 doubles, and then we're ready to start again on the side. So the first 5 doubles go into this very first V, and then we do the 2 front post trebles around the 2 stitches from row 13. So yarn over twice, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then we do the same again, yarn over twice, behind the post of the stitch to pick up that loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We're now ready to start with the 5 doubles into the next V, and then we do the single, catching the 3 chain into that middle double from the shell from row 13. So I'll let you carry on working the next 3 sides and I'll meet you when we get to the end. I've worked all the way around the 4 sides. I've just got the 2 front post trebles to go around the 2 stitches from row 13, and then the very last V on the side has the 5 doubles. And then we join into that first stitch with a slip stitch, snip off the yarn and fasten off. So on each side, well, we'll start with the corners. Each corner you've got 5 doubles into the first V of the corner, and then we've got 2 doubles, chain 1 and 2 doubles in between the 2 V's there, and then on the sides we've got the 5 double again there. We start then with the 2 trebles, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5 double crochet shells. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 singles along the sides. So we're ready to start row 16. For row 16, I've gone back to the turquoise yarn. Oops, just going to slip knot onto the hook, and again we're going to start in the corner. So we find the corner which is the 2 doubles with the chain 1 in between, and into that chain 1 space we're going to work 2 doubles, chain 1 and another 2 doubles, and that forms that corner. So onto the sides we're going to front post double the first 2 stitches. There's 1 and 2. We're going to single crochet in the 3rd double of this shell. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We do a single crochet into that stitch. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to front post double these front post trebles from the previous row. There's 1 and 2. We're going to chain 1 and we do a single into the 3rd double of this shell. So we skip the first 2 stitches and a single into the next one, and then chain 1 again. We're now going to work a 3 double crochet cluster into the single. So to do a 3 double crochet cluster, we yarn over into the stitch, pick up a loop, pull through, yarn over through 2, but we don't do the next yarn over and through 2. We do the same again, into yarn over into the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over and through 2. We've now got 3 loops on the hook. We do it a 3rd time to make it a 3 double crochet cluster, pick up the loop, yarn over and through 2. We've now got 4 stitches on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4, and that forms the 3 double crochet cluster here. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to work a single into the center double of the next shell. Chain 1 and then we do a 3 double crochet cluster into that next single. So yarn forward, just show you the 3 double crochet cluster again, yarn over into the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2, and then yarn over into the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over into the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2. That leaves 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 4. We're going to carry on across the row until we come to the front post trebles that we did on that row. So we chain 1 into the center stitch of the shell. We're going to work a single, chain 1, and then we're back to the 3 double crochet cluster into that single. And then chain 1, single into the 3rd double of the shell, and then onto the next. Chain 1, we work a 3 double crochet cluster in this next single, chain 1, single into the middle of the shell, chain 1, and then we work a 3 double crochet cluster into the single, chain 1, and we've got the last single into the last shell there, chain 1, and we're going to work 2 front post doubles, 1 around each of the front post trebles from the last row, and then we're going to chain 1, single into the center double of the shell, and that brings us back up to the corner where we're going to work. We're going to skip the other 2 doubles of that shell, and then we work 2 front post doubles around the 2 corner stitches before the chain 1 space, where we start again with the corner stitches. So the corners, we've got 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 doubles, and then we do 2 front post doubles around the first 2 stitches, skip the next 2 stitches and work a single, and then we start with the 2 front post doubles around the 2 front post trebles. Then we go on to the pattern repeat, which is chain 1, a single in the middle of the shell, chain 1, and then a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 1 and a single, chain 1 and the 3 double crochet cluster, and so on until you get to the end of the row. I'll just do the start of the next side. So we're now into the corner space between the 2 sets of doubles. We're going to work 2 doubles, a chain 1 and 2 doubles, and then we've got a front post double around each of the first 2 stitches. We've got a single in the center of this shell, and then we do a front post double around each of the front post trebles from the previous row, chain 1, and then we start with the pattern repeat, which is a single into the center double, chain 1, and then we've got the 3 double crochet cluster into the single, chain 1 and a single into that center stitch of the shell, chain 1 and a 3 double crochet cluster into the next single. So if you want to carry on and work all 4 sides the same, if you get stuck, you can always rewind the video a little bit to follow from the beginning of the row, and I'll meet you when we get to the end. So when you get to the end of the round, as always, slip stitch into the first stitch that we started with and snip off the yarn. The next row, which is row 17, I'm going to start with the navy yarn with a slip knot onto the hook, and we're going to start again into the corners. So in each corner space we're going to work 2 half doubles, a chain 1 and 2 half doubles. So to do a half double, if you're not familiar, is yarn over into the space, pick up a loop, yarn over, and rather than just coming through 2 and then yarn over and through 2 again like a double, we just yarn over and pull through all 3. So yarn over into the space, pick up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches at the same time. I'm going to do chain 1, and then we're going to do another 2 half doubles into that same space. So there's 1 and there's 2, and then along the sides, be careful that you don't miss the very first stitch. We're going to do a half double into those first 2 stitches, just take that, zoom in a little bit, and then we're going to do a half double in each of the front post doubles. We're going to do a half double in the space between the front post and the first single. That's into the space. We're going to do a half double into the single, a half double between the single and the next two front post doubles. We do a half double in each of those two stitches, and then from here up to the front post doubles at the other side, we're going to do a half double in each space and each stitch. So the first one is into that space there, and then we do a half double into the single, a half double into the space, and a half double into the 3 double crochet cluster, a half double into the space, a half double into the single, a half double into the space, and then a half double again into that next 3 double crochet cluster. So if you want to carry on with the half doubles, and I'll meet you when we get to these first 2 front post doubles here. So we've come up to the first front post double of these 2. I've done a half double into this last single, a half double into the space. We do a half double into the first front post double, a half double into the next one, half double in the space between the front post and that single. We do a half double into the single, a half double into the space after the single, and then a half double in each of these 2 front post doubles, and we do a half double into each of these last 2 stitches, and that brings us up to the corner here, where again we're going to do 2 half doubles, chain 1, and another 2 half doubles into that same space. So we repeat this side for the other 3 sides, and I'll meet you when we get to the end. And when we get round to the end, we're just going to, as always, slip stitch into that first stitch of the row, snip off the yarn and fasten off. So at the end of this row, not including the corner stitches where we've got 2 half doubles, a chain 1 and a 2 half double, you will have 41 stitches along to the next corner. So we've got 41 stitches on each side, and then we've got 2 half doubles, chain 1 and 2 half doubles in the corner there. So we're ready to start the next row, which is row 18. And for this row I'm going back to the yellow yarn. As always, we start with a slip knot onto the hook. We're starting in a corner, so in the corner space we're going to work a 2 double crochet cluster, which is the same as the 3 double crochet cluster, but we only do the 2 part doubles. So we yarn over into the space, pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the space, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2. We've now got 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3, chain 1, and then we're going to do the same again with another 2 double crochet cluster. We're now going to chain 1, and we're going to do another 2 double crochet cluster in that same space. We've now got 3 double crochet clusters. we chain 1 and we do a 4th double crochet cluster into that same corner space. So we've got 4 2 double crochet clusters all into that same corner space, and there's a chain 1 in between each one. We now skip the next stitch, which is this first one of the corner, and we're going to back post double the next 13 stitches. So skipping that first stitch there, we're going to the next one and do a back post double. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. And if your stitch count is right, that brings us to the stitch that's in the 3 double crochet cluster just here. We're now going to work a front post treble around the front the cluster. So yarn over twice, put the hook behind the stitch, pick up the loop and pull it through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2 and yarn over through 2. So we've actually got the front post treble is around this cluster stitch. We now back post double the next 3 stitches. That's the stitch in the space, the stitch in the single and the stitch in the space. So we've got 1, 2 and 3, and then we do the same again. So we've skipped the stitch that was in the cluster and worked into the next 3 stitches. So around this next 3 double crochet cluster here, we're going to do a front post treble. So yarn around the needle twice, pick up a loop, yarn through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, skip the stitch that's in the 3 double crochet cluster, and we're going to work a back post double a back post double around the next 3 stitches. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. So we skip this next stitch here but do the front post treble around this 3 double crochet cluster, and then a back post double around the next 3 stitches. We skip the stitch that's in the 3 double crochet cluster and work a front post treble around that cluster, and then 3 back post doubles, we're going to work the last front post treble around this last cluster here. And that leaves us with 14 stitches to the end of the row. We're going to back post double 13 stitches the same way that we did at the beginning. We skipped the first stitch and did 13 back posts. Here we're now going to work 13 back posts up to the end. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then we're going to go into the middle chain 1 space of the corner, and we're going to do the same as we did in this corner here, where we've got a 2 double crochet cluster, chain 1, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 1, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 1, and a 4th 2 double crochet cluster, and then skip the first stitch, work 13 stitches along to the first 3 double crochet cluster, and we work the front post treble around that stitch. Skip the stitch that's in from the last row in that 3 double crochet cluster, and then work the 3 back posts, a front post treble, 3 back post doubles, and so on to the end of the row. So we're at the corner here, and I'm going to work the double crochet clusters with a chain 1 in between, and then we start again, skip the first stitch and work the 13, and so on until you reach the end of the round. This row will be the last row of part 2, and I will be putting another part 3 video shortly. If you can't wait, there is a written pattern available on Ravelry. Coming up to the next front post treble, followed by the 3 from back post doubles. So if you want to do a stitch count at the end of this row, you'll have 4 2 double crochet clusters in each corner with a chain in between each one, and then there are 13 back post doubles, and then a front post treble, and then we've got the 3 back post doubles in between each of the front post trebles along the side, and you'll have 5 front post trebles on each side, and then 13 back post doubles before you reach the next corner. Just come to the last stitch. Don't forget to skip that final stitch there. Pull the yarn through and fasten off. So this completes part 2 of the Corylus throw. I hope you've enjoyed working it along with me, and I hope you'll come back and join me for part 3. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.